All right. All of this to explain this phrase, Vedanta Sara Sarvaswam Jnanam Vijnanam Evacha. In verse number 5, this knowledge is characterized by Dattatreya as the heart, the essence of Vedanta. All of Vedanta is packed into this understanding of consciousness, this realization, not just conceptually grasping it, but the ability to say it's a fact. Lo and behold, it's a fact. Wonder of wonders. All right, we had studied the second verse. Now let us move on to the third verse. Panchabhutatmakam vishwam marichi jalasannibham kasyapyaho namaskuryam aham eko niranjanaha. The universe composed of 5 elements is like water in a mirage. Oh, to whom shall I make obeisance? I who am one and taintless. Yeah. Very radical verses. What's this universe which we are so fascinated with, we are so absorbed with, we are so invested in? These worlds, body, people, all of this, what I call my life, the universe I inhabit. What is this? There's a word in Sanskrit and also in many Indian languages. It is called Prapancha. Prapancha. In Bengali also you have this word, Prapancha. In Sanskrit also, Prapancha. Pancha means 5. And it refers to the ancient cosmology, which is common to many cultures of the world, of the 5 elements. Sometimes it's 4 elements, sometimes 3 elements, but 5 elements. The universe we experience is supposed to be made of 5 elements. Space, air, fire, water, earth. And it goes back to the Taittiriya Upanishad. There it is said, Tasmad va etasmad atmanaha akasha sambhutaha akashad vayo vayor agni agnir apa adbhya prithvi. From this Atman, Brahman, what Atman are we talking about? Remember, Brahmatma, those 10, 11, 12 aspects we just discovered. From this appeared sky, akasha, space. And from space comes fire, air. From air comes fire. From fire comes water. From water comes earth. And these are the 5 primal elements. The ancient cosmology. The Indians had it, some version of it, the Chinese had, the Greeks had it. 5 elements. Or sometimes 4. Sometimes they left out space. So these elements emerge, and from a mixture of these elements, you have the universe. You have our bodies and our minds too. Our subtle bodies, physical bodies, all are made of these elements. So the universe made of these elements in Sanskrit, Pancha, 5. The universe made of these 5, Prapancha, the expansion of the 5. So everything in this universe are these elements. By the way, I'll just mention here, I should, because Hollywood, there was a scientist here quite some time ago, decades ago, before my time, but some of you, the seniors here, must have seen him, John Dobson. He was here. And he's well known for his sidewalk astronomy, where he would make these amazingly effective telescopes and then encourage people to look out into outer space. I never met him. It was before my time. But he was a disciple of Swami Ashokanandaji in the Vedanta Society of Northern California. And Ashokanandaji gave him a mission. Among the missions he gave him was to map modern scientific cosmology, modern scientific particle theory with the ancient 5 elements theory. So what would be space and fire and air in modern in physics today? And he tried. I've seen booklets written, for example, fire was some kind of radiation, things like that in the early stage of the universe, something which would correspond to what we know through modern cosmology today. So it was a brave attempt to map these 2 worldviews together. But anyway, the point here is this whole universe we are seeing is made of 5 elements. What's all this? 5 elements: space, air, water, fire, earth, in some mixture. The person you love the most, 5 elements, bundle of 5 elements. The person you hate the most, bundle of the same 5 elements. Your favorite food and the food that disgusts you, same 5 elements. In different combinations. That's all. In fact, if we analyze the world into these 5 elements, most of our problems are gone at that point. What will you love? What will you hate? Who to hate? Whom to love? Whom to praise? Whom to blame? It's all the play of 5 elements. It's a dance of these 5 elements. So Prapancha. Okay, funny story. In the Himalayas, the monks who stay there, when there are places where they're given food, they're called annakshetras. And those annakshetras, they shut down before winter, because it's very difficult to run them in the high altitudes during winter. So they shut down. Before shutting down, there's a big feast arranged. All the monks come there, and they're given some supplies to last them for the next few months when there will be nobody to give them anything. So food, fuel, maybe some medicines or sweaters and stuff like that. And the story goes, these monks in one place, they were given a brick of molasses, sugar candy, good. Yeah, they're given that. So it's like sugar, which you can use through the next 6 months. It's like a brick tied up in an old newspaper with rope. So these 2 monks who are friends, they take it back to their cottage, all the supplies, including the brick of molasses. And this monk, he goes into his cottage and lights a lamp, no electricity in those days. And he unpacks that and he eats a little bit of that sugar candy. Nice, eats a little more. Good, that's enough for tonight. Let me just roll it up, pack it, tie it, and you have to hang it up there because there are mice. And they will get at it otherwise. So you have to hang it from the ceiling. So he hangs it from the ceiling, that brick of sugar candy. And goes to sleep. After some time, puts out the lamp, and after some time feels, maybe I should eat a little more of the sugar candy. It's nice, So he gets up, lights the lamp, unties that, brings it down, unpacks it, and then eats some more, and just for good measure, some more also, and then ties it up and puts it up there. And in 10 minutes again, he can't sleep. He wants a little more of that. Sugar high. So he does that. Next morning, his friend comes from the neighboring cottage to his cottage and suddenly remarks, "What happened to your sugar candy?" And this monk says, "I wiped out the prapancha. Prapancha mita diya." Prapancha means made of 5 elements. Basically, it's the word we use for samsara, the world. I wiped out all of that. That means he ate all of it. 6 months supply after that night. He was so annoyed that, why should I keep getting up? Let's finish it off so that I can sleep peacefully. Prapancha. Here he says, the Avaduta says, Pancha bhutatmakam vishwam, this universe of 5 elements. What about it? It doesn't exist. What do you mean? He says it's like a mirage. Marichi jalasannibham, like a mirage. So the mirage example is a favorite of Advaitins, like the snake rope. And it's like a mirage. A mirage, in the desert you seem to see water, but there's none. Swami Vivekananda talks about it. In the deserts of Rajasthan, he was walking and he's thirsty and he sees water, an oasis, walks up to it eagerly and then sees there's no water there. And he writes, I realized this is the mirage we had studied about. And then he starts walking again, looks back, and again that beautiful, alluring oasis, but now he knows what it is. And he says Vedanta is exactly like that, spiritual realization. You realize what this universe is. It's Brahman. And again it'll appear, but now you know what it is. It's none other than Brahman, even though it looks like a universe. The mirage example, Professor Garfield, with whom I studied Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhist philosophy, Madhyamaka philosophy at the Harvard Divinity School, he used this mirage example in a very thoroughgoing way. So what he did was this. He said, he compared it to driving in Arizona. Where is Las Vegas? Arizona, Nevada? Nevada. Okay, but it's a desert. So driving through Nevada in the desert. And he says 4 categories of drivers, using the mirage example. 4 categories. One is the novice driver, the one who hasn't driven in the desert earlier. Second is the driver. So the novice driver, when he encounters the mirage, what does he think it is? Water. He thinks, wow, in the middle of the desert, water. Amazing. He thinks it's water. He doesn't even doubt it. Then the second person is the knowledgeable driver who has driven in the desert earlier and knows about mirages. So what does he say that when he sees the mirage, what does he say? Water, but I'm sure this is the mirage I have studied about. He said, it looks like water, it must be water, but then he immediately realizes it must be this thing I've read about. It must be a mirage. So that's the knowledgeable driver. The third kind of driver is the expert driver, who drives regularly for whatever reason. Maybe he's gambling at Las Vegas or something. So he drives regularly through the desert. And the moment he sees the mirage, what does he say? He doesn't say it's water. He doesn't say it's water, but it must be this mirage we have read about. What does he say? It's a mirage. I see that all the time. It's a mirage. And there is the fourth driver. This is an innovation that Professor Garfield introduced. There's something called a polarized glass. Sunglasses which are polarized. It seems if you put that on, you won't see the mirage. That happens? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. So somehow it works. The optics are such that you will not see the mirage. So the driver driving with those polarized sunglasses doesn't see the mirage at all. Now, what does he want to illustrate with this? The simple man of the world. When we experience the world, what do we say about the world? World. Just like the novice driver who says, and he sees the mirage and says, it's water. It isn't water, but he says it's water. And we say, when we encounter the world, this world, Prapancha, sugar candy. Here it is, the world. That's it.